Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mid America Dirt. I'm Skip, and I am super excited to be joined by GR Smith. GR, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, GR. I got to tell you what, I got in a car for the first time around a track today, riding in a two-seater, and
Oh,
I think I'm still car sick. I don't
that's
know. I, let- hey, I have a new appreciation for what y'all do. I'm going to tell you that right now. I did not realize how much work it is inside that car.
yeah, it's a young man's game now, so it's definitely a lot of work and these younger guys can definitely do some things and that maybe some of the older guys can't. So it's definitely um over the years it's got more physically demanding for sure.
Yeah, it almost got me wore down just sitting in the other seat trying to hold the camera.
Yeah, well, I came back and raced Charlotte. Um at the World Finals just to have some fun. My kids wanted me to come and have some fun, so we went out and did it. And I joked with the guys that I can practice qualifying night. That was like 6 laps, so I could handle that. And then Drake was on me about the heat races. The first 2 to 3 laps, I was, ready to go. Probably about 2 3 laps ago of each one, I was holding on, looking for a caution.
I got you. I can understand that. I can't. It's wild. It really is compared to what as a fan, you just don't appreciate how much is really involved out there on that track.
Yeah,
I mean, how much work they're doing.
100%. I mean, I have a lot of you even people that come to my, our car dealerships or the business and they're like, "Oh, it's just driving a car." And I'm like, it's like, you know, riding a bull and you know, trying to trying to drive. So it's definitely not like going up the freeway I-95 or anything like that.
Right, right. Well, GR, I've heard some things about you. It sounds to me like you're a very interesting guy. Tell me how. Well, first of all, let's talk about. Do you come from a racing family?
Yes, I come from a racing family. I was born into it, you might as well say. My grandfather was into racing, had race teams. My dad, he's the one that got me into racing. And since I was in diapers, I was going to races and was very fortunate, grew up in a family that raced in the cup level. So I was a kid that got to go to Daytona and be it from the infield and experience that and just you know my whole life was built around racing. We raced, it's what we did, and when we didn't do that, we played ice hockey. So it was definitely, you know, uh, how should a way of life, right? So, I try to emulate that with my son now, and with having the race team, and it's just, I think it's some of my greatest childhood memories are from our family just going to the going to the racetrack on a Saturday night. Back then it was not so much of the national stuff that you see every week. It was more you waited all week to go for a Friday or a Saturday night, right? So if you were lucky, you got a special here and there. But it was primarily Friday, Saturday night racing is what we did.
Okay. Now you talked about hockey. Tell me about hockey.
Yeah, what do you want to know? I love hockey. It was actually my first sport that I ever played. I think my dad got me on skates as soon as I could walk. And I probably didn't know what I was doing at first, but then just over time, just got really, really into it, and that was a way of life. We played, practice, and we got to, or I say we, but my family enjoyed it with us, and played a lot of what at that time was high school hockey. I played tier club hockey, which was, anybody that follows hockey knows the divisions of like the level. Sorry, mite, squirt, bantam, midget, and so made it to where I played a lot of that, and and that was a way of life. We traveled all over for that back then. There wasn't rinks right around. You had to travel 2 3 hours just to play the next team, and so we did that for a while, and then. But when we were what midget style was like when you're in high school, played midget AAA, which was the highest level of hockey, and we went all over the country. So have some great
Wow.
memories
Okay.
doing that, and it was a pretty cool deal.
Okay. And did you play college hockey?
Yeah, so I really played I played midget hockey is what it was midget AAA. I played my two club teams were the Philadelphia Junior Flyers and the Philadelphia Little Flyers. We went back and forth and we played for the national championship in the Lake Placid Arena where the 1980 Olympic on ice game was. So
USA hockey team?
yep, and we played in the same town, and that's where we went all over from Chicago to Detroit to Canada, but the year we actually made it, we played in Lake Placid. So that was well, probably one of my best memories. With high
Yeah,
school
that's pretty
hockey,
cool.
high school hockey was big. We won uh, I was the captain of my high school team that fortunate enough we won 2 state championships back to back, but, high school hockey wasn't to the level that midget or club hockey was, right? And it's still probably now it's junior hockey. I don't know, what they have going on now. I haven't followed it in a long time, but, yeah, it was something that was just a way of life I still my son and I, we still watch we watch we're Flyer fans, right? So we watch every Flyers game thanks to ESPN Plus. So we get to still keep in touch
Yeah.
even though we don't live in that area.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love it. I mean, we used to have like a minor league, I guess you'd call it a minor league team. Um, Little Rock used to have one. I think it was called the River Blades. And I used to go to that a lot before, they went out defunct or whatever. But I mean, being at a hockey game in person, that is fun. That yeah,
Yeah,
I know
for
people say they
sure.
don't like to watch it on TV or something like that, but when you go to a hockey match, that is awesome in person.
Yeah, it's probably playoff hockey is probably the best sport there is. I mean, it's not taking anything away from um regular hockey, but any level of hockey if you reach that whether it's junior level or club level, high school level or NHL, the playoff level of hockey is off the charts. It's just there's nothing else like it. So yeah, I mean I was fortunate, enough to, get on a pair of skates early and just went from there, and that was hockey and racing. We just kind of juggled back and forth. That was my childhood, so it was definitely good memories.
Now, did you race during this time at all yourself?
Yeah, so I played hockey younger. The rules were a little bit different back then. And I say back then, I guess I'm showing my age there a little bit now. So, but when we were growing up, you couldn't race as young as these kids are racing now, right? There was like I believe in New Jersey, you couldn't even race till I think it was 18. So,
Wow.
no, so yeah, so my dad got me a car and my brother and my dad my brother really we put it together he put it together and if it wasn't for my brother and my dad I wouldn't be racing and so they kind of showed me the ropes and my right after my 18th birthday where I was eligible to race in New Jersey we went out and that was my first event so we qualified
What
I
were
think
you
there was
racing?
six. It was a sportsman modified, like a big block style modified with it was a sportsman like a 358 two-barrel carburetor engine. Not a crate, so it had more power than like a crate, but it was a 358, spec engine on a 2-barrel carburetor. So started in that, and that's kind of right when my birthday was. So that's it was like different times. Like now kids could race. Um, my boy just started racing. Well, I say he just started racing, but he ran his first race in over here at Millbridge Speedway when he was 3.5. So, so
Oh, that's
there's a
awesome.
yeah, so there's definitely a definite racing's come a long way. The safety, I mean, we didn't have anything back then. Like we didn't even have head and neck restraint. We didn't have anything. We just jumped in a car and had a helmet. And if you look at some of the stuff we raced back then, there was no the safety's come a long way. But yeah, it was just different times.
So you're a big block modified. I've always wanted to talk to somebody that did that. You sit in the middle of the car, right?
Yes, yes, in the middle of the car.
How is that compared to, normal race car? Is it quite a bit different to sit
Well,
in the middle, or it can
so like yeah, so I came from that, right? So it's basically like I call it like a sprint car or a wingless sprint car with a body on it, right? You sit in the middle of the car. It's got a steering box. Everything's set up to somebody that doesn't really know. It's more similar to a sprint car. Same area, Northeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware is a big area for that type of racing. And I didn't know any different. It's what I was born in, and it's the only cars that I've ever seen. When I got into a late model, um, and we have, like sitting on the left side of the car and just getting used to everything that's different in the late model. I thought, that was the way it was supposed to be. So it's just it's a unique. They probably put on the best racing. I've been separated at a long time now, so I don't really keep up with it because we're so consumed in what we're doing. But for the longest time, it's all I knew, and now my brother still does it a little bit, and I try to keep up with it, but it's um it's definitely, it's definitely super competitive. You can come through the field in that they're less aero, dependent race cars because they don't, it's an open wheel with a body, and you don't have all the air on the nose like you do on a late model. But it's just a different style of racing. You can, um, like when we used to race, we didn't qualify. We would get handicapped. So if you were a high point guy, a high money earn guy, you would start 19th in a 25 lap feature and have to come to the front.
oh, man, that sounds like that'd make for some good racing to watch.
Yeah, it made to where when you started to race, when I was when I was younger, it was a challenge. You're like looking at the laps and everything you did had to be aggressive, so the late models at that time when it first came, they were about longer distance races and keeping your tires. And now I think it's come full circle to where late models, you race them as hard as you can, and the cars and the equipment and tires for the most part are so durable that you can charge and sprint race for 50 laps where it hasn't always been like that. You have to for a long time you have to race off the edges of your tires and stuff. So it's definitely, I've seen it cross reference, or evolve is a better word, over the years to how you drive these things, and so it's just bringing them full circle. But the big block modified area, and that's what I was born and raised on, and that's what I cut my teeth on. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching them. I really do. I'd like to get up there and at some point in the Northeast and watch some racing because that's one of the areas that I haven't been to, and I do enjoy watching those things. I think they're neat, and it's just that it's odd that it's just that, and it's not just that part of the country because I found out I think there's a group of them down in Louisiana that
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about.
yeah, you're right. I think they race down there. They used to have like for a little bit there. I saw that they came down. It was one of the other series. I don't know the top of the name, but they would go down in that area. I think they raced at the Rev or some other places like that, and they would come down before Florida or January. But yeah, it's definitely a very cool series. It's kind of, in that region from Canada to Delaware, it dominates, and that's what people know. I mean, there's some really, really good racetracks. You know, I cut my teeth at Bridgeport Speedway in New Jersey, and
Yeah,
I get on the World of Outlaws to try and get into that market a little bit, because there's some really good racetracks and some really good, you know, crazy race fans that are in that area. And when I say crazy, that are just,
that was a
you go from New Jersey to Delaware to Pennsylvania, they pack those places out, and they're big block
that's
modified
awesome.
sprint car fans in that area.
That's awesome, man. Anytime you go somewhere and see a packed house, man, at a race, that makes you feel good. It really does. Really makes you feel good. So, how long did you run like World of Outlaws, big blocks, or did you get into that somehow? Like
Yeah,
series
so
racing the big blocks?
yeah, so they're not World of Outlaws. They were the Super Dirt Series is what it was.
Super Dirt series. Right, 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 right.
Yeah, and that was primarily through New York. We had our own track group of tracks. I'm not saying we ran races. My family ran that series growing up, but by the time I transitioned into racing, like I said, back when I was racing, tracks had Saturday night point championships, back in that day. And that was the big thing. Like, everybody worked all week and or did their deal or school or whatever it may be, and then they went to racing on Saturday night. It was more Saturday night racing. Like, you had your Friday night track, you had your Saturday night track, and some places had a Sunday night track. But I primarily raced in New Jersey. We would venture to Delaware and or Pennsylvania for the most part. I mean, we went to, New York for some special races. They used to have Super Dirt Week at the mile and that type of stuff. So, but primarily I was in New Jersey. Our tracks then were Bridgeport and New Egypt Speedway.
Okay. Okay. So how long did you do the big block modified, right? How long did you do that? Let me ask you this question. How did you get into late models?
So it's a funny story. So I'll give you a quick synopsis there or recap, I should say, of my racing. I started in Sportsman Modified. I won a championship at Bridgeport Speedway. That was my first full year of racing. So that would have been, I was 19, because we couldn't start in New Jersey until we were 18. So I ran a couple races. My birthday's in June, so I didn't get to. I only got like half a season, or just a little less than half a season.
Half a year.
So yeah, so then I came back the next year, and that was my first full year. We won the championship. So in the series I was running, and then we went to another track across the state, New Egypt, and won the championship in the division that I was racing then. And then my next progression obviously was to race big block modifieds, and that's what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to race big block modifieds up and down the Northeast, and against your guys like Matt Shepard and those guys.
Right.
That's
Yep.
who was probably in the same age bracket I was, right? So that's what I thought I was going to do. And then
Okay.
I went to college. I went to WVU.
Okay.
Went to WVU, went to West Virginia, and I was actually um, there was a weekend I would drive home every weekend to go race. So I would leave college and drive all the way back to New Jersey to race, and so did that, and progressed, drove for some different car owners, and we won some races. We won a lot of races actually in 358 open motor deal, and had a lot of success doing that. And then I thought that's what was going to be my path, and there was like a rain out or something going on, and uh, I didn't go back that weekend, so I stayed at college. Well, everybody would go out and do their thing. Well, my thing was like, man, I got to find a race to go to, right? I was like, me and my college buddies, I was like, we're going to go find a race. Well, they were still racing. Like, I found out about Rocket Chassis, which was like 25 minutes up the or yeah, down the road and from Morgantown. So I went checked that out, and they still had like I-79. They had a couple racetracks around there. So went to a race and they said what the guys paid, and but back in then, if you won a couple modified races, like I think I won, uh, 5 or 6 in a row at Bridgeport in a 358, and I think we were getting $2,500, and we went to this late model race, and the guy won 10,000 at a regional race, and I was like, what? And so, and I then
Yeah.
it was a regional event. I came and the following year, I started learning about them, and believe it or not, they had a World of Outlaw race at Bridgeport Speedway, and I went to it, place packed out, and Scott Bloomquist actually, he won the event, and that was 2005, and I said, "That's what I want to do. Like that's what I want to do. Like that's they can go anywhere." They go anywhere and race, and the biggest thing that it was intriguing to me was they qualified. Like you didn't have to like start 19th. If you won the week before, you didn't start 19th. You could start on the pole. I was like, so you can win. You could win that on Friday night and race wherever they went to the next night. Start on the pole. So that was a whole new deal for me. So I went back to school and started snooping around, like going over there and asking. These guys had no idea. Mark Richards and Steve Bakers, they had no idea who I was, and at least I don't think they did. And I started asking questions and going over there and said, I want to get a car. And I think they looked at me like some college kid, like, get out of here, right? So um but that was the long and short of it. So I got a late model and went late model racing the next year, and it was my second late model race I ever sat in a car. We qualified 10th at Volusia at Speed Weeks. Well, I qualified on the pole of my heat race, and then I started 10th, and I looked over next to me. This is the no joke first late model race I ever attended or went to. I was sitting and I was starting next to Scott Bloomquist, who was right next to me, and I remember
Oh, man.
remember yeah, I remember that. I was like,
That's
"Man,
cool.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be here or not," but we went on, and it was good. It was a good learning experience. We had a lot of fun, and I did all of the Lucia Speed Weeks, and then we went and we went and raced just back then it was pick and choose. You didn't race like you either raced on the World of Outlaws, or I guess Lucas was just getting going at that time. It was, or you went and you just spot raced wherever you wanted to go. And I had a lot going on. I was down there, and the reason I switched is because I was doing some ARCA stuff and doing that type of stuff, and I raced Daytona earlier that day, or yeah, because we got rained out. I raced Daytona, and then I went to Volusia to start late model racing. So it was kind of all happening pretty fast back then.
Did you run ARCA?
Yeah, I ran ARCA races there. I didn't get to race as many. I mean, that deal was back when I was coming through, it was a big money thing, right? So but yeah, I actually qualified 4th, for the Daytona race back maybe '06. I can't remember. And I was leading at the first pit stop, and we came in and we were leading the race. I was in a really good car. I mean, it was a ex Jeff Gordon car that he ran a Bud Shootout with, and it was a gold car. Bobby Gearhart Racing actually prepared the car, and my family raced ARCA back in the day, so we had that connection. And my dad kind of put the deal together, and we went, and it was that car was like driving a Cadillac, and we came in leading, and I'll never forget, they ran it in the morning because the rain the night before, and they had to get the Bud Shootout, whatever they called it back then, right? I don't. They ran that at prime time at Fox at night, so they had to move the ARCA race to the next morning. So we were racing like at 11 o'clock in the morning around Daytona on Sunday, and came in leading at the first pit stop. And back then you had we had a development crew. I think it was like, I forget which team it was, but guy dropped a jack, or the jack, missed a jack, and we came in leading and we went out like, I don't know, 20th or whatever. And then we were
Oh
marching
man.
back through. It was, I'll never forget it. I could just pull out. Everybody was drafting. I could drive around them. This thing was mint. You just had to hold the wheel, and then they had a wreck, and we got caught up in that coming back through. But that was so,
Man.
yeah. I got to race at the big Daytona. That's probably one of my coolest. I didn't. I wish I knew now what then or whatever how the saying goes, but I didn't have a whole lot of experience. I was racing dirt modifieds and dirt late models, and then we did that. But yeah, that was so we
You,
ran. I think I would say I ran. Probably ran that off and on probably eight times, I would say, and then I
okay.
primarily stuck to the late model side of it, and we had a good. I guess it's not over, but I don't race as much or at all really. So,
As much. Yeah, I
but
got you.
we we
The ARCA thing,
flew out the
ARCA
southeast.
thing
It
is
was
really neat.
fun.
I had a guy on the show not too long ago. His name's Jeremy Petty. He's from Salina, Kansas. He owns a dirt late model team that he gets to drive every once in a while, but he's an ARCA crew chief most of the time. And he ran a lot, ARCA and some truck stuff. And he's really into that ARCA stuff. He really liked it. And um
Yeah,
it's kind of neat to
yeah.
hear somebody else talk about that. He doesn't get the race, as much as he wants to, but I'm interested in that ARCA stuff. I'd like to check it out a little bit more.
Yeah, it was a cool deal. And we came back and we ran the late model throughout the southeast, and we won. I mean, I can't complain. We had a really good run. Ran to get some really good guys, and we won a bunch in our region. I ran super stuff for a long time, and then I got in. You started my own business, so I couldn't have my own team. I could, but I could. It's just not the time of day to do both. So I drove for a team out of Greensboro area, and Larry Cassell, Bobby Hart, and they kind of prepared the car, and I can show up just at the race, and we probably won another 50 crate races, and that's back in this area.
Golly.
Crate racing during that time
Yeah,
was
yeah.
was pretty big. Me and JD would race together on the you would all the guys that you see now and like your Brandon Overton, they all did that deal, and it was a good time because you could go hit a bunch of different races back then and then still go and race the super. But they paid well. I mean, 311 Speedway for a while in North Carolina was paying like 2,000 to 2,500 to win a Saturday night 25 lap crate race. So
Wow.
I was like, "You do that," and
Yeah.
then we won a
Why would you
bunch.
not do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won a bunch, and he would give us a bonus if we would go to the tail, and we would do that. I mean, and next thing you know, you're racing for like 3,000 for on a Saturday night and going 30 minutes from the house. So, and back then that was pretty
Heck yeah.
big for the time. So we had met a lot of good people, raced a lot of good cars, and had a lot of fun. So that's my that's what I say too. We could still race, but I'm so competitive. I feel that if I race, I'm taking away from my race team. you know, um, we did it at Charlotte because I thought we were prepared enough that I could have a little fun, and I thought those guys were dialed in enough. And Drake's definitely he got on me and told me I was racing. At the last minute I was like, no, we're not going to race, and he's like, no, you're gonna go race. So he definitely I have to say the whole reason I raced was my boy wanted me to race, and Drake made it happen. So if it wouldn't have been for Drake making it happen, I wouldn't have went.
I got you. Okay. Hey, speaking of Drake Troutman, one of my favorites. I've had him on the show, so I like that kid, man. I really do. I've been a fan of his for a while. How awesome is it to have him driving your car? That's got to be pretty awesome.
It's yeah, it's we have a great relationship. I like to think, first of all, yes, he's an amazing talent. I think he's just scratching the surface of what what he can do. I mean, I think he's going to take the world by storm. I really do. I hope we're a part of his success for a long time. But he's definitely one of those guys that, as somebody that can drive, as somebody that's driven, even not, I'm not taking nothing away from a fan, but as somebody that drove a race car, and I think other driver, you can tell when a guy's can do things that most people can't, and he's
Yes.
definitely extremely talented, and we're fortunate and lucky enough,
Yes.
and we want to put a great team together. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. I have, man. That he's good. I mean, I am. I'm a big fan of his. It's and I see that you lost the rap game or the rap battle, color battle.
Did I lose or
I saw
win? I
that
don't
the other
know.
day.
I don't know. So this car right here has got the orange, has the flow red, I should call it flow red spoiler. So we have a bunch of cool different things that we're going to do this year. Drake and I just trying to make it fun. Um, we are going to run the
Yeah,
black spoiler at Arizona. We're going to run the flow red spoiler at
I
Volusia.
saw that. Yeah,
We're going to we also have our red car. We have our copper car, and we actually have a surprise car that we're going to break out, at a special event coming up here, probably mid-season. So we have a couple different things in store for the fans. But yeah, he's amazing. Like he's everything. I know, it took a while, but he's everything that we want in a driver, and also as good as a driver as he is, which he's exceptional, he's even a better person. So we're lucky to have him. Uh, we're extremely excited for what we're gonna hopefully accomplish going forward. And like I told him the other day, he said we're gonna try and do the best we can, and we're trying. Our goal is to build a national championship team, right? So, I think every year we take the steps, and we feel that we're prepared this year. But I think everybody says that this time of year, right? You do everything you can to be
sure, right.
as prepared as you can. But we came together late last year, so we had a very short off season, and he did a hell of a job trying to put it all together quick. Now this year we got some more people. We definitely have cars sitting here that are ready to go. And that's what it comes down to. If you try to emulate the guys that are the Davenports and the RTJs, you got to have the equipment that's ready to go. And it's almost got to the point where you have to, say this car's our Charlotte car. This car's our big track car. This is our Eldora car. It's got to where, if you have 4 or 5 cars and different engine combinations, you're that's how technical and close this racing has got. So it's very seldom that you're taking the car and racing it to death and taking it. You got to stay on top of those type of things, and I think we've taken as a team. I think we've taken the steps, for that.
Yeah. Let's. I kind of want to get into the team aspect of it, Gr. Um, so how does it work? Does Drake take care of the day to day operations for you on the team?
Yeah. So we've had it all. We've had teams different ways where you manage them and you do different ways. Everybody has their own type of setup here. The way we are set up, Drake, I didn't want to take anything away from the way he was doing it. So he basically runs the team as if it's his own, right? We do everything. We have a shop, which is his shop up in PA, and we have a shop down in North Carolina where it gives you a base where if you're racing in the South, you can come back to him. If you're racing up north, but he runs the day-to-day operations. He calls me and we speak daily. I mean, we speak daily, text daily. I mean, he's not only my driver, but in a lot of ways. I mean, I got my son, and he's turned into my best friend, right? So, there's very few people that, I'll call my brother, I'll call I've got to spend my time with my son, and then I'll call Drake. And so we definitely I've never let anybody have the keys to the kingdom, I should say, like, and I trust him with everything, and he runs it as if, and takes care of it too, as if it's his own, if not better, right? So, he knows how I am, and I think that's where I help him. Like, I like everything being neat and dotted, and he's to he's to that point, and probably thinks I'm over the top sometimes, but I can't ask for anybody better to do that with. And it definitely takes a load off, because we just get, my wife and I,
Yeah,
we can
it's got
enjoy
to.
it, and we enjoy it there. But as far as the race team, I would say, he's in charge, of how the race team goes. I mean, we're a little bit different because Drake was his own crew chief when he came, and sometimes if you put a crew chief, so we have car chiefs and we have guys that can do all those things, and we took that step. I told him we had to lessen his load a little bit this year. So I think we're going to be in a good situation to do that, because I want him to concentrate on racing, just the driving
Right.
aspect, and free him up. So hopefully we're
Excuse me.
hopefully we're able to, take that next step with him this year, as far as that goes, right? Where he's not underneath there changing the gear, but he's so hands on,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
the way he was raised, right? So he's raised old
Hard
school.
hard to keep him from it.
He's the youngest old school racer I've ever met, right? So he's like, I talked
He
to him,
is. He's
I'm
he. Well, listen.
yeah.
I talked to him, and he's like, you forget that he's a young guy. He's a young guy. It's like talking to absolutely seasoned professional.
Yeah, listen. If you didn't tell me he was I thought, like, I would say he's 30, and I hang out with him every day, right? So
Yeah.
he looks 20, acts 35, right? So, and I mean that
Yeah.
in the most sincere,
A good way.
positive way, because he is matured way beyond his years. So,
Yes.
um, it's like, I remember last year, like, he was 19, and he waited to he waited till he left, and he sat there and said, "Can you believe you just let a 19-year-old just take all your equipment? I'm driving it down the road and off to the first race right now." And there, heck, he's all the way, he's all the way in New Mexico. And I was like, man, I gotta get on a plane. I was like, I gotta get on a plane and go check this out. But he's
uh,
definitely, he jokes about with me all the time, and like I said, it definitely definitely appreciate that. And I think we're taking all the right steps to be the team that we both want to have.
yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Let me ask you this question, Gr. What is the biggest expense for you as a team owner? Engines,
Uh,
chassis, tires, suspension.
everything, really, everything's just, it seems like every year it's more and more and more. So, I mean, but for our racing, I would say, the engines. Like, right, you have 60, the brand new, you're 60,000, and in some deals you're over 60,000. It's like playing roulette with a ticking time bomb, right? I mean, it's just like, you know you sit there, and that can, I would say, the cars too. You lose a car, but you can, most of the time, you can kind of salvage some stuff. You blow one of these engines up, you're not salvaging much, right? So, the engines are our biggest expense, but it's so much that goes into it now. It's like, from where it was back when I started to where it is now, it's a full-time business on this side. So it makes us, where we appreciate every one of the sponsors that we can get. So, or partners, like I like to say. They're a big part of it. We have some of our partners here that we couldn't do it without them. I mean, it's definitely it's something every day. It's something. It could be a tire on the hauler. It's just once you think you have everything, it's just constantly and from constantly, and it's getting those engines and keeping them coming to where you could race the amount of races that we race. And I won't think I would say we race more than anybody else in the country by far. Um,
You race a bunch.
and
You do.
we race a bunch. I mean, we have 150 scheduled races for this year. Now weather and everything,
Golly.
yeah, with weather and everything, and sometimes we don't, like last year we took a little bit of we had that many. I think last year we took a little break to regroup and we still hit 125 or 28. I can't remember, but it's just about being prepared and being
Golly.
prepared. So, the daily expense, the engines, but yeah, so the engines are probably you know, they that are the one that can make or break you in this deal.
Yeah, I've heard some people say engine, I've heard some people say tires, that they just absolutely hemorrhage a bunch of, money on tires. So I guess it probably depends on how well your engines hold up and whatnot too, whether that's your biggest expense, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you break it down, if you kinda know it, it's a business, I mean, I'm, answering this loosely, but from a business standpoint, if you break this deal down into sections of what cost, it's by far, it's not even close, the engines. Like, the engine, even if there's nothing that's going wrong with the engine, which we have great engine builders, and if nothing happens, it still have that rebuild. So the cost per race is higher on a super late model with these engines just because of the amount of laps that you can go on a national level team to qualifying on the pole, or if you feel you're just giving, like, it's so close now, if you feel that you know there could be completely nothing wrong with your engine, but if you just race it too much, you could be giving up time.
Yeah,
So
right.
managing your laps, is probably our biggest business, decision that we make.
Have you figured out how much it costs you per lap? Have you figured out how much it costs you per lap on your engine? Do you know that? I
Yes,
know a lot of guys
I know
have
how
it
much
down to
I know how
cost per
much
lap.
correct. I know how much it costs us per lap and per race to run, per lap on the motor, per lap on the car, but I'm not gonna say this on this podcast because I don't want my wife to find out. So
I understand. I generally
so
know. I've had guys talk about it, so
For
you're
Drake and I to
you're
make
good
all
there.
those yeah, so for Drake and I to hit all these 150 races, we're not gonna let her know about that.
I got you. I got you. I'm with you. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the next couple of weeks because it's fixing to really fire up. You've got Drake's running Chili Bowl. Now, are you involved in that? The Chili Bowl, the midget part of it?
Yeah, so how that came together was mutual friends, and then they came to us at right around World Eldor time, right around the World 100, and they said, "Hey, would you be interested in making this, like, bringing Drake to the Chili Bowl?" And said, at first it was just a conversation, and then we got going further about it, and I asked Drake. I said, "Hey, listen, would you want to go?" And he said, without a doubt. I mean, he's like, every race car driver at least wants to go there one time. So, and it's something I always wanted to do too, right? I've grown up in that, like, that sprint car, not so much the midget, but when I was younger, Tim McCready would go and race that all the time, and he won it, right? So I would always follow it, and I was like, "Man, that's something on the bucket list that I'd like to do." So, with the help of Shane Meal and Levi Jones and a bunch of people, be some of our sponsors are on the team, the Nick from the Brick House, you know, you know, and Grady Tramler is it's his team. We sit there and said he called me up and we kind of put together. Said, what about a Team 22, you know, car coming to the Chili Bowl? And so we kicked the idea around and we were going to do it, and then we got busy with our late model stuff, and then they were like, "Come on, let's do it." So finally, we got together. So yeah, it's a collaborative effort. It's going to be a Team 22 car with all
Oh, yeah.
just
It's
just like our it'll look identical to this car sitting right behind me. And
yeah.
Grady Chandler and his
Kenny
team.
Collins knocked it out of the park
Yep.
on that one too.
Kenny does all our
Yeah.
wrap work and he does an amazing job. So
It
I want to take a shout out to Colin Signs.
yeah, even the
Kenny,
midget looks awesome.
yeah, Kenny's top notch. I mean, I think he knows if he was on there, he'll tell you that I spend a lot of time, you know, about how my cars are looked and prepared, and he knocks it out of the park every time. Yeah, so to answer your question, we put an effort together and it was I think it was right we were at the World Finals and I said, "Drake, if we wanna do this, we're kinda running out of time, so you gotta get to Oklahoma and do a test." And he said, "Okay, when?" I said, "Tomorrow." So I was like, "So we're having the banquet, then you have to fly out Monday." So he looked at me, he said, "All right." So he didn't even know where he was going, and, I said, "Okay, well,
Yeah, he said he
get
went
to
to Port
Oklahoma."
City.
Yeah, so he didn't even know, and it was cool. We were here in the shop. We have a TV room, you know, back in the back, and I brought him in there. I said, "You want to go?" He said, "Yeah." It's like, "All right, well, we gotta make this happen now." So yeah, we were able to do that and put it together, and it's been a great experience so far with those guys and Shane Meal and Grady and all that deal. And so I'm glad to be a part of it with Drake. And listen, I'm super excited for him to get out there and just represent the dirt late model. I know Ricky Thornton goes and all that deal, but the more guys, it's just turning into a cool. It always has, but from our side, the more we can have crossover, the better it does for the
Yes.
sport. So the more that we could have
Yes.
the late model guys interacting with the sprint car guys or the big block modify guys, the more it just advances the sport. And you know,
100%.
from a fan base to a sponsorship level, it's just good all the way around. And you want to see your guy. Like there's going to be a lot of late model fans that maybe not know, or maybe Drake Troutman wasn't their guy, but we're all selfishly pulling for late model guys when they go, right? I mean, last year I'm pulling for Ricky Thornton because I want to see the late model guys represent, right? So
Yeah.
we just want to we want to see how our own discipline, how our own guys. Now we know we're going to a hornet's nest with they have 1,000,000 laps, and I think Drake has like 50, right? If he has that many, I don't know. I wasn't there, but it's kind of it's just a cool event. It's a spectacle. It's one of those deals. You know the Indy 500, you know the Daytona 500, you know the World 100, you know the Chili Bowl. If you're in racing, you know the marquee events, and
Absolutely.
it's something that he could say he's in now, and I could say we had a car and was a part of and a team. So it's a pretty cool deal.
Well, I'm excited about it. I'm an hour away from Tulsa. I cannot wait till next week to get over there and see Drake racing a midget. I'm
Yeah,
super
yeah.
excited.
So
I'm
his prelim will be Tuesday night. He's gonna race in
gonna be there.
he's gonna race in Arizona on Saturday and Sunday, and then he's gonna fly to the Chili Bowl on Monday and take it all in. He's never even been there. He's gonna take it in and see where he even has to go out or how you even line up, right? So he's gonna take it all in. He's got one night to absorb everything, and then they're gonna let him loose on Tuesday night. Whole ra whole race whole race, and then go back. He'll fly back, early Wednesday morning to back to Arizona, and then we'll just take it from there.
Okay, so how much of this are you gonna be able to go to, GR?
I don't know. I don't know if I get to go to any of it really. I'm so busy with
Oh man.
everything. Yeah, I know. It's kind of I will try to make everything that we can but we're so busy. I have 2 little kids now, and my wife, which I don't know how she does it. She runs a lot of it, almost all of it when I go play, but, I try to, help out and do everything we can together, so, she does a fantastic job, but we have so much going on it's just the for us, it's the, wrong time of year, right? The kids we just had off the kids where they had all this time off, and now they go back to school, and it's like
If
it's hard to
yeah,
miss
you're
school
rolling
and
now.
do all that deal. So, I don't know. Like we flew to St. Louis last minute. She was looking at me, and I was looking at her, and she kind of knew. I was like, okay, let's go. And like we literally decided to go to St. Louis. Like it was like we had like an hour and a half to catch a plane, like, because we were leaving. So, I don't know. I might hit her with one of those, but she may look at me a little different too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, I know I've had you on here a long time. I want to talk about your son. So you've got a son. You said he raced at Millbridge, or he has raced at Millbridge. How excited are you about maybe getting your son coming up through this?
Super excited, right? So that's the whole reason why I'm still doing this. And one, we get to see Drake do it right, and then bring my son along. I always had a dream to do it with my dad, right? I was always gonna drive and my dad was gonna come, and unfortunately my dad got sick, and he's not here with us no more. So I always felt like, that void was there. So being able to do it with Drake is kind of reverse roles for me, right? So it took me a little bit to figure out which direction and how I want to go, and maybe got a little flack for that, but to find somebody that I could see a lot of myself and how I want to do it. And he has his situation too, but I want it for me, it kind of fills a void. Now to bring my son along and he could look up to Drake, and we went to a
No
race and
joke. No joke.
Drake was his crew chief, right? So
That's
he
awesome.
follows Drake, and then Drake returns the favor when he's in town and comes over and turns the
That's
wrenches at
super cool.
Millbridge. So it's a family atmosphere. It's we'll do anything for each other. Um so it's something we appreciate. But as far as my son Carson, he started at 3. He's ate up with it, right? He loves it. He went out his first lap. I told him he was like 3.5, and I said, "Go hold it wide open." And I'll be damned, he went around there and he held scared me to death. I still scares me, right? So it's funny, like I raced all these years and I don't even think about it, right? But when he's out there, I'm like, oh man, this has got to like they're going around. He's in a cage. He's got all this stuff, but it's still for a dad. It's like, man, I don't even like my kids getting a bump when they get scraped or fall at school. So I'm like, now he's in a
Right,
car, and
right.
I didn't know how he was going to take it, but like I said, he's went to every World of Outlaw race. The year before, and then we cut him back because they told me how much time he missed at school. So we, my we brought him back, and he went to the majority of them. He'll go with me. And then, so he's like, everybody knows him everybody knows who Carson's out on World of Outlaws, on Dirt Vision. Like he goes to them all. And it's not something I force on him. It's like, he'll be like, Dad, when am I going to race? Dad, when we going to race? And I feel like the last couple years I haven't got to race with him as much as he's probably wanted to, and we're going to do more of that this year. The good thing about where we live is Millbridge, the Hoffman family, and all they do a great job with that right over here. It's about 20 minutes from where I live, 25, and they do a
Nice,
great job.
nice.
We could race on Tuesday nights in the middle of the summer, so it doesn't affect your weekend or doesn't affect what you're doing on the national level. And a lot of times, if it's not in the heat of the grind, the guys, if they're in the South, they could come over and check it out. Or, there's a couple times like Drake's like, "Hey, we taking Carson tonight?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm working, but if we get it together," he's like, he's going racing. It's just
That's awesome.
a good deal, but I love it. I probably enjoy going over and doing just watching him make those laps as much as I do anything else.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. Uh, so GR, I gotta say this. I gotta shout out Mike and Kobe Moore. They got us. They got us together. Super, super great guys. I'm a big fan of both of those guys as well, and so I got to shout them out
Yeah,
for getting us together
yeah, for
to
sure.
talk. I
They're
really
super
appreciate that.
correct. Super nice people. It was about this time 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. Scott, my nephew, went out with the merchant, and they became friendly out at the Wild West shootout there, and they came back in, and they came to a race. We saw them out in Oklahoma. No, it was Texas. It was at Rocket Raceway. They came over, and then they came they came to Charlotte. We end up winning. Chris Madden won the World Finals that night, and they were there. They actually flew in for the World Finals, and just been friends since. Great people, great bunch of guys out there. Um, they they're
100%.
trying to get me to come out to a Kansas State football game with them. We're West Virginia fans, so we're got that Big 12 rivalry right there. So great people,
Yeah.
and just terrific. Terrific deal. I mean, that's just shows you how, everybody sees somebody, or from me, they see you at the racetrack, right? So, but they don't get to see you away from the racetrack, there's a lot of great people in racing that,
Oh,
once you get them away from the
100%
racetrack,
GR.
yeah, so you have a good
Some of the
time.
some of the best people I've ever met. For real. I just can't believe how blessed I am to have met the people and talked to people that I have on this show and got to know the people that I have, and it's all because of racers. Racers
Yeah.
just network of great people.
100%. I totally agree with that. I met some great people along the way, and continue to, right? So, and then some people that you raced against that you may have been rivals with turn out to, it's just we race in a circle, it all comes full circle. We were fortunate as a team. I mean, I raced against Chris Madden for many years. I never thought Chris Madden would drive my car and win the world finals at Charlotte. Raced against Jonathan Davenport. Actually, my family and his family and people were fist fighting each other at a racetrack one time. Come back years later, and he wins the world. He wins the World 100 in a car. So there's things that, like, you gotta listen. Everybody is super competitive,
Sure.
and once everybody gets cooled down, and there's not one person at the race that could have been my arch rival, that if they were on the side of the road with a flat tire, we wouldn't stop and help them out. And we may have been fighting 20 minutes before, but we would sit there, and that's actually happened. So, it's just how it goes. But as
That's awesome.
the older I get, the more I realize that, like I said, when you're in your 20s, you look at things one way. When you're in your 30s, you look at things another way. And then, now, like, as you progress and, 40 or later in life, it's those things become less important, right? So it's just kind of
Right, right.
kind of that deal right there. So just
Okay, so did you did you say that Scotty's your nephew?
yep, Scott is my nephew, correct. Merchman
That is
Scott, Team
super awesome.
22 merchandise. Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
so
big fan of that dude. He's coming on tomorrow night. So that's awesome.
awesome.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Good
I can't wait to
good
get him
kid,
on here.
works
I like
hard.
Scotty.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
good
is.
kid, works hard, and he goes to every single race that Drake goes to. So, if we no matter what it is, he's there. I know he went to some modified races with Drake last year. I know he went to, uh, he's going to the Chili Bowl with Drake, and that deal, and fly, like, they're going back and forth. So if Drake's racing, he's there. He's 100% dedicated to this sport. If you're watching this
Yes.
podcast, go check out
Look at
Team
this.
22.
This is
Yeah, go ahead.
this is my favorite hoodie right here, GR, the Troutman rookie card. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, You wait when you're on the show tomorrow, you have to ask them whose idea that was. Because I like to
Okay.
give them some slack about that. But no, check them out. Dirt
Whose
King
idea? Is this
Apparel.
your idea?
The rookie card shirt, yeah, because like, so back in the day,
Yeah.
the big thing was like, see, this is going back. Collecting rookie cards when I was younger was the thing, right? So whether it was
Yes.
a
Yes.
baseball or hockey
100%.
card, like I think it with all this technology and a new wave generation, um, they got away from like collecting baseball cards and rookie cards.
Yeah.
And I used to
Yeah.
collect them as a kid, and used to get the stick of bubble gum, right? When you would collect the card. So I said, he's the rookie deal. Who Nobody does a rookie card shirt, so let's kind of do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He took the idea,
Good
and
job.
yeah, they took the idea and they ran with it. So it's a great deal. But yeah, he's the Dirt King apparel guy. He's the Team 22 merchandise guy. He's the Drake Troutman truck and trailer apparel driver. He does it all. So check him out. Good kid. Definitely a good kid.
Absolutely. 100%. And we will get him on tomorrow and see, what he's got, what he's got in store, what he's got available, and all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And GR, it was super good to meet you, super good to talk to you. I hope I get to see you next week in person. That'd be super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I want to
Maybe.
take a minute, thank everybody. I want to thank the Brick House
Thank your
Tavern.
sponsors.
Um,
Absolutely.
I want to thank the Brick House Tavern. I want to thank Lake House Wine Bar and Grill, Victory Circle Auto Sales, Gamble Transport, RFI Solutions, Schaefer Construction, Shoes, Diesel Performance, everybody who's a part of this. We have Mark IV that helps us out with our four-wheelers and all that, and pit bike equipment. It takes every single one of these sponsors. George Beckett and Sons, a great partner of ours. Jerry Siding and Roofing. Yeah, all these guys it takes to go up and down the road, right? All the way down to VP Fuels came on this year. Um, you know, Hoosier by Brian. All these people make it work. And I know I'm forgetting some. Dirt King Scott. If he doesn't go up and down the road to every one of these events, we can't get this out there. And he helps us out on the race team and even behind the scenes. So we can't do it without everybody. So and lastly, I like to thank my wife and my kids for letting me do this and be a part of this and spend so much time doing it and my great crew and driver. Like I know you're talking to me, but we wouldn't have a podcast talking to me tonight if it wasn't the job that these guys do. I mean, the entire crew from Hunter to Lane to Tom to Scott and obviously Drake rounding out the Drake's the glue that keeps everybody together and he's the one that makes the rest of us look good because he does things in a race car that honestly I don't think many people can do, and we sit there in awe when he does them. So I want to say thanks to all those guys. I hope we have a great week. I hope you have a great show. Thank you so much for having us on here and being able to talk. And then lastly, I just want to thank the fans because without the fans, we don't get to do any of this. So thank you guys for everything that you do, supporting the race team and check us out at the racetrack this year.
All right. GR, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. Hopefully
Thank
I
you
get
so
to see you
much.
soon.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you. Thank
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.